You're listening to the Coconut Avenue Radio and Podcast Network.
Welcome to Out There on the Edge of Everything, the show that examines, helps you understand, and effectively deal with the interesting edges of life. Broadcasting now from the virtual C344 studios overlooking the edge of Coconut Avenue is your host, award-winning and best-selling author, Dr. Stephen Lesovich.
Hi, this is Dr. Stephen Lesovich out there on the edge of everything. This episode is entitled, It Is What You Attract. Let me share another true story with you. I was in Florida recently to attend the wedding of a friend of mine. On the day I was leaving, I was dealing with a client matter, and it triggered an anger response in me. I don't get angry very often, so it was an unusual energetic state for me. What do you think I attracted? That is correct. Angry people. The law of attraction, simply stated, is like attracts like. I know many of you think the law of attraction is either not a real thing or is something only those involved in the woo-woo world believe in. However, it is a real thing. Everything in the world is energy and energy-based. Feeling angry, I ran down to the beach and took off my running shoes and socks to put my feet in the Atlantic Ocean. There was not another person within 500 yards in either direction of my shoes. Literally, not a single person I could see within 500 yards of me. Suddenly, two women with 3 young children walked on the beach and put their belongings directly down on top of my shoes. I could not believe it. I could tell one of the women was very angry by the expression on her face. The 3 kids immediately ran into the ocean near me and started splashing water. I moved a few yards away from them. When it was time for me to go, I had to pick up my shoes and socks, and when I did, I got an angry response from the women, even though they had placed their belongings directly on my shoes. I ran back to the hotel and decided to eat breakfast in the hotel. There was a young man serving as the host to seat people in the hotel restaurant. The host looked very angry. There was only one other couple in the dining room, which had about 15 tables. The host seated me at a table right next to the kitchen door. As I sat down, a waiter came by and dropped his shoulder and ran into me. He was very angry and got more angry as I was blocking his access to the kitchen door. I called the host over and asked to be moved to a new table. Even though there were about 14 empty tables in the dining room, the host indicated there were no tables available in the dining room. He suggested I follow him to sit at a table in the bar. At that point, I refused to be seated in the bar and left the hotel restaurant. As I walked down the street, I was confronted by a man who appeared to be homeless. He asked me for money and got agitated when I said no. I then found a small restaurant with outdoor seating. I was sitting at a table directly on the sidewalk when another homeless man asked me for money. When I refused, he got really aggressive. I had to stand up and say no. At that point, I needed to adjust my attitude and energy to stop attracting angry people and angry energy. I did just that. The waitress at the restaurant was a younger woman with very nice energy and positive energy. She greeted me with a smile. The restaurant was dog-friendly, so several families arrived with small children and dogs, as well as a retired couple with a dog. I had a good breakfast in a very peaceful setting. When I grabbed an Uber to get to the airport, the driver that showed up was a man with very positive energy. He indicated that he even had lived briefly in a neighboring city in Wisconsin, close to where I grew up. Once I was seated on the plane for the ride home, the 2 men sitting next to me also had positive, respectful energy. When you are feeling angry or some other negative emotions, how do you shift and change your own energy? Do it with the acronym ACT, A-C-T, which stands for Acknowledge, Commit, and Take Charge. Number 1, acknowledge. Acknowledge whatever negative emotions such as anger you may be feeling. Also acknowledge the emotional triggers that caused you to feel the negative emotions. Acknowledge what you are feeling from a point of view of discernment. When you view something with discernment, you do so to seek the truth about a situation without judgment and without the opinions of other people. Number 2, commit. Commit to changing your negative emotions to something positive. A commitment is a decision, then a pledge to do something different. You cannot initiate any change in your life, even just changing what you are feeling, without you deciding you want to. A pledge is a serious or formal promise to follow through on your decision with actions. Number 3, take charge. You are the only person responsible for what you are feeling and the decisions you make moving forward. One way to take charge to initiate a positive change in your life is to say and create declarations. For example, I declare I am changing my emotional state right now. Then take positive actions to move away from your negative emotional state. If you find any negative emotions are starting to creep back in, or you get triggered emotionally, repeat these act steps again each time that happens. Shifting your emotions and energy with act, acknowledge, commit, and take charge allows you to create positive impacts in your own life. Until next time, I'm Dr. Stephen Lesevich, out there on the edge of everything. If you're enjoying this podcast, please subscribe to our channel, Out There on the Edge of Everything, wherever you get your podcasts.
You have been listening to Out There on the Edge of Everything, the show that examines, helps you understand, and effectively deal with the interesting edges of life. For more information on your host, Dr. Stephen Lesevich, please visit slesevich.com. For more information on prior and future shows, please visit coconutavenueradio.net.
This is the Coconut Avenue Radio and Podcast Network.